Video is not meant for children and viewer discretion is highly recommended. Now this is about dealing with a hard diabetic cataract. I am going to point out certain rules. The first thing, you have to have an adequate block and proper incisions, even if you're doing under topical. The next rule, I think, is you always have to have adequate dilation and you should stay in the capsule. So once I have stained the capsule, you can see this is an extremely hard leathery cataract in a diabetic. No red reflex whatsoever, and you need to stain the capsule. And always target a larger rhexis in these sorts of cases. Do not go for a very small rhexis. You will land up in a lot of problems. So here with my cystitome itself, I am targeting a largest rhexis. Definitely more than 5.5. It's not the recommended 5.5. It's not the recommended size. It is larger than that. And the problem here is I have got more issues than actually thinking about centration of the IOL, etc. So once I have done my rhexis, the next rule is you need to do an adequate, but you need a very minimal hydrodissection in these cases. But once you have done the hydrodissection, you look for that forward movement, decompress, and make sure you rotate that nucleus either with your dialer or with the same hydrodissection tip. Doesn't matter, but rotate it adequately so that you separate all the capsulocortical adhesions. And always use the soft shell technique. Use both dispersive and cohesive OVD, and the idea is to protect the endothelium. Now when you start your phaco, I'm doing the woodcutter's chopping technique. I've taken my sharp chopper. Make sure you take out the superficial cortex. I'm making a small trench there to get an adequate depth, and very important to bury both your phaco tip and the chopper deep into the nucleus pulp and go towards each other, laterally separate. Watch, look for that red reflex clearly. Do not make lamellar chops. You will be in a lot of trouble if you make lamellar chops. And rotate the nucleus better 180 degrees. Okay, there are a lot of techniques to break up the nucleus. I am showing you the woodcutter's technique. Those are my parameters that you just saw. I rotated it 180 degrees and I am trying to break right up to the backbone. If needed, go at multi-levels. Look how I have gone to a multi-level and broken it up. Do not make lamellar chops. Try your best to avoid that. Do not keep losing the AC. Do not keep coming out of the AC, because if your pupil shuts down on you, you are going to have a lot of problems to complete the case. And here I am making more and more chops. Look at me. I am going at multi-levels, trying to separate those. Look at those strands that are holding the pieces together. But there is only so much lateral separation that you can do. Try to go deep again. Do not panic. That's rule number 9 and the most important rule. And you have to make adequate number of segments. Minimum 6, if not 8. And keep separating. Do not panic. Just keep going around. Look, I have just finished only one heminucleus. I'm not panicking. I'm not coming out. I just keep rotating. Now I will target the other heminucleus as well. So go into the depth. These nuclei are very thick anteroposteriorly, so you can go into a lot of depth, and you will need to do a multi-level chop because this is only a 1.5 mm or a 2 mm chopper, not more than that. And that thickness of that nucleus in the center is around 4.5 millimeters. So you really need to do a multi-level chop. Keep going, keep making segments, try to separate some of them if you can. and try to stay within the bag or at the most at the iris plane. Now here I am trying to target one segment. See, this is separated, and once I get that segment, I get enough space, and it's very easy now to get out the other segments. Although I have got very good chops, you can see there is still attachment in the center. Don't panic, don't bring it into the AC. Try to stay within the bag. Try to do it at the iris plane and avoid chasing pieces. Look how steady my phaco probe is. Very little movement. I just keep it in that safe zone, let the pieces come to me, and I have turned the bevel down. The bevel is not sidewards, it's not facing upwards. Never face the bevel upwards in a hard cataract. Do the case bevel down, and that's it. I've got out all the pieces. That's a bit left, usually gets stuck at that side port. You can get it out. And now, having done the hard part, don't take it easy, because it is at the step of cortical aspiration that you are most likely to have a PCR or a zonular dialysis. So do not take the step easy. Watch the PC carefully. In these highly progressed cataracts, the PC is very loose. There is no attachment with the vitreous face, so that the capsule can just come up into your port. So be very careful. Try to face your port upwards most of the time. Once you have taken out all the cortex, and I mean all the cortex, make sure you place your IOL into the bag. Remember, you have a larger rhexis. It's not a 5.5 mm rhexis. So you really need to make sure that your IOL goes well into the bag. Especially since this is a single piece. If it's a 3-piece or a rigid IOL, yes, it doesn't matter if it goes into the surface. And make sure you remove all the OVD. Take your time over this. You don't have to go behind the lens if you don't want to. Just keep tapping on the lens and getting out the OVD. Here I am putting in my intracameral antibiotic, hydrating the wounds, which is very important, and do the bounce test at the end. And once you follow these rules, look at the pristine cornea on day 1. Thank you so much for watching.